What's up guys, I'm the East Coaster fan, and today's going to be a little bit of a different type of discussion video than I've normally done. I don't really want this to be the most edited thing, and that's on purpose. I just kind of want to talk off the cuff and say what I feel regarding Kingda Ka, which closed exactly 1 year ago today. Well, you might be thinking, did I already see this on things like Instagram, other social medias, YouTube? And you're right, because earlier this week was the last public day of riding Kingda Ka, but I want to wait to make this video on the day it was announced by Six Flags Great Adventure, when they announced Kingda Ka, Twister, Zumanjaro, I believe Skyway, Green Lantern, all those closing for good. And really since that date, I was always thinking about making a follow-up 1 year later to kind of see what 2025 would entail, because since that point, we knew 2025 was going to be a mixed bag of a season. And now since we're at the end of it, I want to get a sense of what I felt and what I saw really as I was visiting the park over the course of the summer, and just kind of get a sense of where we are now looking forward to 2026, 7, and beyond. Because closing Kingda Ka was really a seismic move for Great Adventure and the Six Flags Entertainment Corporation, and just overall a massive blow to roller coaster enthusiasts. I still feel the effects of it even when I'm talking about Great Adventure, visiting the park, and describing Kingda Ka to others now as a past memory. It's not the most fun thing to talk about now, but I try to focus on the positives of Kingda Ka, the Golden Kingdom, and try to remember the best parts of it. Now, I did not get to go on Kingda Ka's final operating day, which I wish I could have gone now in retrospective, because it just looked so much fun to me, and it looked like everyone had a great time. It was one of the best things I've ever seen from the roller coaster community, assembling basically a pre-funeral for the ride. But I actually went the day before. I forget which day that it was actually. I'm trying to look at my calendar over there. Is it either the 8th or the 9th? I don't know. While I was sad that I couldn't go on the final day, I did go on a day that Kingda Ka was out in the sun, and I could get some of the best pictures and videos I've ever gotten of Kingda Ka. It was definitely a sad day. I mean, I felt a lot of emotions leaving the park that day. As I said in many videos now, I wasn't sure whether or not the rumors were true, and I think that's just something that we need to keep saying as we talk about Kingda Ka's closing going forward, that everyone there that day did not know what the future of Kingda Ka was, including me, including literally everybody, except for maybe the higher-ups, some employees, just, I don't know. It's definitely sad, but again, it was nice out, and I was one train away from a rollback. I'll still remember that for the rest of my life. But that's okay, because I got on Kingda Ka a lot of times that day, and it was really great to send it off on my own personal note. I want to go into basically the year after, since Great Adventure was kind of in a almost shell-shock state, where it was just full of construction all year. Now granted, we did see some Cedar Fair isms come throughout the course of the season, like the food offerings. The food substantially got better at Granny's and Yum Yum Cafe. Yum Yum in particular, that was considered one of the worst restaurants in the park for a long time, and now it's one of the best. Has great burgers, chicken, and just a much better setup than it had been in the past. In fact, I remember the holiday in the park before, I ate there with my mom, and if I could bring her back now, she'd probably see it as a completely different restaurant. I hope they use this time during the off-season to really enhance the park from what it currently is, because, like I said before, it's in a very interesting state. Basically, everything on the left side of the park was in a state of limbo, especially by Superman Ultimate Flight. That walk down there was kind of depressing. On the right-hand side, you had all these gates that blocked off the former entrances of Twister, Green Lantern, and the Parachute Tower. Honestly, the closest I was able to get this season was recently during Fright Fest. I know they did a tour during the Ace event where you could actually walk on the construction grounds, but unfortunately I wasn't able to go this year. But if another opportunity comes to see that, construction area in more detail, I'll definitely try to do so for this channel and just for my own personal investment in this new roller coaster. And with this new roller coaster, it was initially promised to come next year in 2026. A new record-breaking launch coaster is what they said when they announced Kingda Ka closed. Sadly, this got pushed back to 2027. Now, it could be because they were trying to aim it towards the start of a season. So let's say at the beginning of 2027, we'll get this new coaster open on opening day like Flash did this year. That's very possible. Or it could be a legitimate delay into like summer 2027, which I hope doesn't happen for the sake of the park. It should mean though that throughout 2026, we should be getting very substantial construction updates. In fact, we might be able to see the coaster being assembled during the season, which sometimes we're not able to see this at all. Especially since El Toro's right next door and there's a freaking parking lot you could use for both the park and the Wild Safari. That whole construction site in general was just an eyesore throughout the entire 2025 season. I bet you a lot of GP went to Great Adventure and for one thing said, where the hell is Kingda Ka and these other attractions, but just thought it was kind of weird to look at. It kind of makes the whole park seem under construction, and in that state, you have GP who go to others saying you don't want to go to the park right now, it's in this state of limbo construction. It's sort of the feeling that many Disney fans had when Hollywood Studios was going throughout its construction. Yes, it's a great park now with a lot of top tier rides like Rise of the Resistance and Toy Story Land and the rest of Star Wars Land. That might be the same thing for Great Adventure, especially during its normal season. Now, Fright Fest is a different story because Halloween events are always super popular and it kind of gives more of an incentive to go because you got the haunted attractions that are there and it's just really nice out for the majority of that season. But that was really the only time that Great Adventure was really poppin' this year. And that's weird because they added a brand new roller coaster as well. You saw that initial boom at the beginning of 2025 where Flash Vertical Velocity was getting these really long lines. But I'll be honest in saying that I thought Flash would have a longer wait for the majority of this season than it actually did. In fact, many of my visits, I wasn't even sure if I was going to be able to get on Flash because of the lines, only to see that it was like a 20-minute wait, and I just do it anyway. That was very surprising, especially for a new roller coaster edition, and one that had just one train ops, but that's Flash for you. It's still a very fun roller coaster, and my thoughts stand from the media day that I was able to attend. It's a great attraction that I definitely recommend everyone rides, but it's probably not the thing that would draw people in that maybe some executives were thinking. Pushing the coaster off didn't seem like the worst idea if it was going to be delayed already, but I don't think it reached that like season-long incentive for people to go. People just kind of went at the beginning and then maybe just waited till Fright Fest to visit again. And as a park that's open every day during the summer, you don't want that. You want people visiting every season. And some other things too. I mean, Skyway, we gotta talk about that. I meant to make a rip video on it, but honestly, it's just too late now. So I'll do a quick summary of it now. They destroyed the station that's on the right side of the park, where Skull Mountain is. And then the other station by Runaway Mine Train is really hard to do something with. So they either gotta get really creative, or I wouldn't be surprised if this sits abandoned for quite a long time. So to summarize things, I think just all the effects of what happened with Kingda Ka's removal and the rest of the rides just sort of made Great Adventure not feel like the biggest priority. I remember at the beginning of 2025, I said to myself that I don't know how many times I'm going to visit Great Adventure this year. And that's something you don't want to hear from anybody, especially a roller coaster enthusiast. But there wasn't the most incentive to visit. I would mainly just go because I felt like riding El Toro. That's it. I wouldn't be surprised when I visit and feel like I was done within a half day. And the last thing you want your theme park to do is be considered a half-day amusement park. But again, this is all for change, and I knew 2025 was going to be a rough one for Great Adventure. And it was, I think. It was a tough season to be a fan of that park and see its state now. But I hope for the best of Great Adventure. With the coaster delayed to 2027, my hope is that they get some flat rides. They need to liven up some of the dead spaces in the park with some flats. You got some from Six Flags America, but you can also buy new ones from Zamperla. There's a lot of unique ones that the park doesn't have that would be fantastic fits. And there are also some things in the survey that released that involved a new giant drop tower, a new kids area. Both would be fantastic additions, although it'd be very funny seeing a smaller drop tower added compared to Zumanjaro. So, with Kingda Ka's closure 1 year later, it's sort of been a mixed bag when it comes to visiting Great Adventure. And while we'll continue to keep in mind the history and legacy of Kingda Ka, the Golden Kingdom, and all those other attractions, I also think that it's important to look forward and support the park and really just do everything we can to make sure that the future is bright for Great Adventure. Feel free to leave your thoughts below on where you think the state of Great Adventure is now, since Kingda Ka was announced to close 1 year ago today. If you liked this video, be sure to give it a like. If you really liked it, make sure to subscribe. For more content, follow me on Instagram, and with that being said, I'll see you guys later.